Jamie Trull here, your favorite CPA and financial literacy coach, and 'tis the season for planning, okay? This is the time of year that I love to plan, whether it's towards the end of the year. Right now I'm recording this towards the end of 2022 or at the beginning of the year in 2023. Now is the time to sit down and map out your plan for your business for 2023. So I'm gonna give you some tips for doing that and making the most out of your time spent planning. Now, because I'm a planner at heart, I wanna be able to give you these tips. I made a whole workbook to help guide you through things you wanna be thinking about, specifically when it comes to business planning and when it comes to financial business planning, which honestly, right, that's what we wanna plan for next year, how to make the money. So go check out jamietrull.com/annual planner. It is completely free. You're going to be able to grab that annual planning workbook and you can do it on your own and fill out all this information. A lot of what I'm talking about here is going to be in that, so you can work alongside me. And even if you've gotten a previous version of our annual planner, you're going to want to get this one because we've added even more into it to help you with your business financial planning for 2023. Okay, so let's get down to it. Now we're going to be talking about 6 different tips to help you plan for 2023 or whatever you're planning for. This is going to be applicable into the future as well. So 2024, 2025, all the years. So number 1 is to review prior year first. So if you're doing planning right now for 2023, you want to have a pretty good idea of how 2022 is going to end up. Now, even if it's still 2022 when you're looking at this, right, you can make some assumptions about where you're going to land at the end of the year. Or if you're looking at this in January or February of next year, then you'll have the whole year to look back at. Now, of course, we have to get all of our information together for taxes, but that's not really what I'm talking about here, okay? I'm talking about being able to get our information together so that you kind of have a high-level understanding of what happened from revenue, what happened from the costs in your business, what your profit actually was, how much you paid yourself in your business, right? Whether that was salary or you just took distributions, right? And how much taxes you either have paid and or will owe, right? You want to have a good understanding of those things. And you're also going to want to know of the products and services that you sold, what was the most popular? What was the least popular? You want to be able to go down and do a little bit of a deep dive and understand what really happened. What is the story of 2022? What went right and what was challenging, right? Because ultimately, as we move forward, one of the great things about business is that hindsight gives us the ability to say, this worked before, so I'm going to keep doing more of this. And those things that didn't work out as well, I'm going to do less of that, right? So we're continuing to refine where we spend our time and our money in our business to make sure that we're continuing to grow. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that towards the end of this. Now, the second thing that we need to do when we are planning is, before we even jump into the numbers for that current year we're planning for, we need to determine our priorities, okay? So we don't want to just start coming up with revenue numbers and goals. We want to think about, what are our main priorities this year? And you don't want to have 15 different priorities because then nothing is a priority, right? So you want to think about what really matters. Is it paying off debt? Is it hiring in your business, right? So that you can save on all the time and effort that you're putting in and getting some help in. Is it making more profit or being able to take more money out of your business, right? Is it planning for longer term growth and putting those systems in place that are going to help you into the future, right? Is it learning, right? Is it learning a new skill or something that's going to help you into your business? So you want to decide, what are your priorities in this year? And again, you can't have too many priorities. You really want to focus on the things that really, really matter and determine those first, because those are going to help you determine what types of goals make sense for you to set both in the current year and over the next few years. So tip number 3, and if y'all watch this channel much, you probably have heard this before, I am really, really big on making sure that you are focusing your goals not just on revenue, right? We're not talking about just the amount of sales that we want to make. you want to really be thinking about the profit you're going to end up with at the end of the day, because that's your take home, right? That is your money. And if we are only focusing on revenue, we may not make always the best decisions in our business that are going to help us from a profit perspective. So I want to get you out of the mindset of thinking about just sales and revenue as your determiner of whether you're doing well. And I really want you to spend more time getting comfortable with your profit. And that means understanding not just the money that comes in, right, but also the money that's going out. And that doesn't mean cutting everything. That just means being really diligent to make sure that you're spending on the right things. Which also leads me to my tip number 4, which is to not just think about this current year, right? We don't want to just be thinking about the year that we are planning for. So in this case, 2023, right? We want to be thinking more long-term than that, right? Unless you're thinking about getting out of business by the end of the year. But for the most of us, we want to take a longer term view, because you want to make decisions that aren't just best for you this year, but that are going to be best for you over time. So that is something that I really want to make sure that you're thinking about when we go into annual planning, because sometimes we get a little hyper focused on the current year, but then we don't necessarily make the best decisions for the years to come. So for example, going back to talking about being conscious of where you're spending your money in your business, you could say, you know what, I want to maximize my profit this year and cut all the expenses. But what is that going to do for you over the long term? Is that going to help you meet your long-term goals if you just cut everything? Probably not. Now, there may be some things to cut that really are not giving you a return on investment, but overall, you really want to be thinking more long-term when you're making decisions and not just doing it for the short-term benefit. And speaking about thinking long-term, the 5th tip is to really consider where you can invest your time and your money in your business that's going to give you the best return in the future. Okay, so we have 2 resources. That's it, really. 2 primary resources in our business that we can invest in order to make that turn into more time and money down the road. All right, so we can invest our time, that's our blood, sweat, and tears, right, into this business. Most of us do that on a daily basis, but we can invest our time, and we want to invest that in things that are actually going to make us a return. We don't want to invest time in something that is actually not going to turn into anything down the line and is just a waste of our own time, right? And similarly, we want to use our money wisely in our business. We want to use it on things that are going to turn into more money or maybe turn into time, right? Hiring people can help create time for you and money, actually. So we're talking about hiring, buying assets to help you do your job faster, right? Maybe taking an educational program to learn a new skill. There are many, many different things that you can do. Perhaps it's even doing a new advertising campaign. And the amazing thing is that when you think about if you were to invest, how most people think of investing, if you were to invest your money into the stock market, for example, right? Just in general, then ultimately you would be really well off, right? If you made 7% return or so. That's kind of the market average that's seen as really good. It means every 7 years you would double your money, which sounds great. But the amazing thing in a business is that you have an opportunity to make triple-digit returns. And what I mean by that is, screw 7%, right? If I invest in an advertising campaign, and again, it takes some testing and seeing what works, but if I invest in an advertising campaign, I can make double, maybe triple, right? 200, 300%, maybe more on that money that I'm investing. Well, then I can take that money and reinvest that money and it can compound, right? So that's the important thing to think about when you are making decisions, is where you put your time and your money now is really going to pay off later down the line. Okay, so make decisions, again, kind of going back to our previous tip, with the long term in mind. Now, my 6th and final tip is don't wait. Don't wait on doing your business planning. If you're watching this video, don't go away for 6 months and then come back. Don't go away for a week and come back. Sit down and make that plan and spend that time to create what your plan is going to be for next year and even past that, right? The more time and effort you put into it now, the more it's going to benefit you later. There is a compound effect, just like there is when you're investing in the marketplace, right? There's a compound effect to the work that you put into this. So the longer that you put off planning, because maybe it feels like there are other fires that you need to fight in your business, right? The longer that you put out planning, the longer that you put off, getting your finances in order, making a good financial plan, all of those things, you're missing out on money every single day. And we need to remember that. We're leaving money on the table by not taking these really, really key steps here, these really intentional steps to get control of this and to have a really clear plan and to know what you need to do. Right? So that is something that I feel really, really strongly about. I want everybody to get started planning. Don't put it off, and don't just do the fun part, right? This isn't just setting a big, huge revenue goal and saying, yay, I'm so excited for next year. This is going to be our $1 million year, or whatever that looks like for you, right? It's coming up with a plan to get there. And that may sound like the boring part, but really when it's done, that's the exciting part, because now you know exactly what you need to do to get to where you're going. So again, if you want help with this, absolutely totally free planner, jamietrull.com/annual planner, totally updated for 2023, and it is available for you right now. So go grab it. We'll see you soon.